Today begins with risk. Only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. The biggest risk is not taking any risk. In a world that is changing really quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risks. If you're not willing to risk the unusual, you'll have to settle for the ordinary. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. Once we believe in ourselves, we can risk curiosity, wonder, spontaneous delight, or any experience that reveals the human spirit. The fear of death is the most unjustified of all fears, for there's no risk of accident for someone who's dead. It is better to risk saving a guilty man than to condemn an innocent one. Our lives improve only when we take chances, and the first and most difficult risk we can take is to be honest with ourselves. Every good citizen makes his country's honor his own and cherishes it not only as precious but as sacred. He is willing to risk his life in its defense and is conscious that he gains protection while he gives it. It is better to risk starving to death than surrender. If you give up on your dreams, what's left? The risk of a wrong decision is preferable to the terror of indecision. If you don't risk, you can't win. I don't fear taking risks. This report, by its very length, defends itself against the risk of being read. It seems to be a law of nature, inflexible and inexorable, that those who will not risk cannot win. Caring about others, running the risk of feeling, and leaving an impact on people brings happiness. To win without risk is to triumph without glory. Living at risk is jumping off the cliff and building your wings on the way down. Too many Christians have a commitment to convenience. They'll stay faithful as long as it's safe and doesn't involve risk, rejection, or criticism. Instead of standing alone in the face of challenge and temptation, they check to see which way their friends are going. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. If you risk nothing, then you risk everything. If you don't risk anything, you risk even more. There can be no vulnerability without risk. There can be no community without vulnerability. There can be no peace and ultimately no life without community. Hesitation increases in relation to risk in equal proportion to age. No man is worth his salt who is not ready at all times to risk his well-being, to risk his body, to risk his life in a great cause. Decision is a risk rooted in the courage of being free. I like to think of ideas as potential energy. They're really wonderful, but nothing will happen until we risk putting them into action. The risk for me would be in not taking one. That's the only thing that's really risky to me. I don't have a formula to pass on. I always did it my own way. Even today, I hold my independence close. It's what's most precious to me. Passion, risk, tenacity, consistency. This is my professional history. Everything in life has some risk, and what you have to actually learn to do is how to navigate it. Life is inherently risky. There's only one big risk you should avoid at all costs, and that is the risk of doing nothing. Business is all about risk-taking and managing uncertainties and turbulence. With love, you should go ahead and take the risk of getting hurt because love is an amazing feeling. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. Every man has a right to risk his own life in order to preserve it. Has it ever been said that a man who throws himself out the window to escape from a fire is guilty of suicide? Be wary of the man who urges an action in which he himself incurs no risk. My heroes are those who risk their lives every day to protect our world and make it a better place. Police, firefighters, and members of our armed forces. Risk is at the heart of jazz. Every note we play is a risk. If we die, we want people to accept it. We're in a risky business, and we hope that if anything happens to us, it will not delay the program. The conquest of space is worth the risk of life. It is better by noble boldness to run the risk of being subject to half the evils we anticipate than to remain in cowardly listlessness for fear of what might happen.
Please like, subscribe, and start every day with a new word. Thank you.